The following program is intended for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Because they are incompetent! The absolute worst!
I had a dream that the Patriots won the Super Bowl again.
Really?
Yeah.
That's I don't know what made you dream. What's that?
I have no idea.
There's got to be some dream analysis in there somewhere.
I mean, my own opinion on it is that, like, the Game of Thrones ending disappointed me, so I figured, why bother believing that we live in a world where good things happen? Like,
well, Mike, you're seeing visions of Brady Christ. You're now a prophet.
I'm seeing
Mike
God.
the prophet. Yes, yeah. one of the disciples of Brady Christ. Mike, I don't know how this is going to affect your Judaism, but I mean, you might have a problem here.
What?
Well, with being a disciple of Brady Christ. I mean, that's going to throw a wrench in the gears, man. I don't.
Even in elimination, you too are children of Brady. So,
you know, it's way far away from the NFL, but do you really think they? God, I don't want to do this again because I do it every year. But do you really think they got another shot at it next year?
Yeah,
Greg. No.
I know.
Greg,
what happened when you did this?
I'm just asking. I'm not predicting anything. I'm just thinking that at some point. Nah, you're right.
No. To quote a line from Game of Thrones, Greg, what is dead may never die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it makes enough sense.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean,
I'm just thinking about that because if that happens, all right, we're probably going to get, and this is why we're here to talk about the hockey, but we're probably going to get Boston Bruins Stanley Cup champion this year.
How dare you?
I know. I don't want it either. I mean, my St. Louis Blues are on the verge of, well, they're going to fuck this up. I mean, we all know it, so I don't even know why I'm talking about it. If they were playing anybody other than the Sharks, I'd say forget it, even though they've got a 3-2 lead. But
that's the thing. That's the thing. If anyone can match the Blues, it's in terms of, like, just pure misery in the playoffs. It's the San Jose Sharks.
But my thing is this: is that I want the Blues to win. I think we all want the Blues to win, right?
Yes.
But who has a better chance of beating Boston is my question, and I think that probably goes to San Jose.
I don't know right now. I mean, they're pretty banged up is the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway. I mean, like, I think I don't know. Because, again, we've talked about for a long time now that what is it going to take to beat Boston? I think at this point, right now the Bruins, when the Cup Final will start, whatever that is, they will have had the longest layoff in pre-Cup Final history, which is something to take note of.
I mean,
especially considering
teams with layoffs haven't done particularly well this
right.
season.
I think I was on the boards and I read that someone was talking about that.
Well, right. Every team that is swept has lost the next round.
Has been swept.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Including you had the Bruins who swept the Hurricanes, who swept the Islanders, who swept the Penguins. So I think if anything, this layoff is actually very good for whoever comes out of the West, if only because the biggest strength for the Bruins has been Tuukka Rask, right?
Right. And
when you have a goalie that's in the zone like that for a team that won, 7 straight games, from the Columbus series to the end of the Hurricane series, you want a team to sit around and lose that mojo. And I think that's exactly what might be happening. Again, we could all very well be proven wrong because Boston loves to give us nothing but misery and death.
Well, they like to dangle a little hope out there and then just rip it out from under us.
And then act hard done by because pilgrims or something.
Right.
And if there are two teams that love to dangle hope in front of themselves and then instead grant themselves misery, it is St. Louis and San Jose.
Right.
But
well, see, I was the Sharks took a 2-0 lead in the series, right?
Yes. No. It was 1-1.
Oh, was it?
They went to St. Louis for Game 3, and that's when the Sharks got the hand pass goal in overtime.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the Blues got pissed and won the next 2 games.
Anyway, my point is that I think the Red Sox are going to be in the thick of it.
The Red Sox?
Yeah, not in the Cup, obviously, but in baseball. I'm getting to my bigger point here. So your dream of the Patriots winning another Super Bowl, that would put us in a cycle where, other than the Celtics and the NBA, which no one cares about anyway, it's been all Boston all the time for like the past, it'll be a while.
I mean, I don't care about the NBA, but I am legitimately happy that the Celtics lost because I don't think I could deal with.
Well, speaking of the NBA, I tried to watch a game again the other night, and I'm sorry. I tried.
I watched the end of the Bucks Raptors at the bar I was at yesterday.
But Bucks Raptors, we the North, fighting back.
But again, when we talk about like the Boston culture of woe is me losing, and Bruins fans were ones to point out, woe is us. This is the Bruins' 3rd trip to the Cup Final this decade. They realize that, right?
Well, I don't think they do. No, I don't think they realize it
like
at all.
They won in 01. They lost incredibly to the Blackhawks in, 2014, 15?
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
And then this one.
Yeah.
So go to hell.
It's tough being a Boston fan these days because
you all go straight to hell.
It might be even tougher to be a Warriors fan, but it's tough either way.
It's tough being a Boston fan. I mean, Ray Bork, guys.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be an interesting conundrum for Boston should the Sharks somehow come back and win the next 2 games. Because I think, as I was telling Mike when you were gone, Greg, I think no matter what happens in the rest of the West Final, and again, this might be out by the time it's over, but no matter which team moves on, there is a storyline to be had against the Bruins in particular. With the Sharks, you have Joe Thornton, who was Boston's other Ray Bork for so long, where they said, hey, we're going to root for Joe Thornton. If he wins it, well, good for that guy because he deserves it. But now they're going to be directly opposed to him, which would be, kind of an interesting thought. And then the Blues, well, they have a statue outside of their arena that's outside of the Boston arena that is a tribute to one of the greatest moments of Blues fame.
Bobby Orr beating the Blues in 1970?
Yeah, like there is literally a monument to the Blues failure outside of the Boston Garden, whatever they're calling it.
This would be the Blues 4th trip to the Cup Final, and they have no wins.
Well, the first, it was part of the expansion of '67.
They shoved through all the expansion teams so that somebody would make the final.
Yeah,
but still, they still have 3 Cup Finals on their record, and they have 0 wins in them.
Well, and I don't like their chances a whole lot against Boston. I mean, I would love to see them pull it off, but
I think they have a bit of a storybook quality to them. That
do they?
Yeah, I think so.
No, see.
Compared to where they were in the middle of the season, right? They were dead last place at the end of January, to the ride they've been on, and just like the way that they've been able to pull out some of these games, some of these series. Even like, you look at Game 7 against Dallas, where they were doing nothing but shoving pucks down Dallas's throat, and they could not get one by. And it seemed like this is a perfect time for the Blues to just blues it up again and lose, and they didn't do it. Whereas on the other side, again, despite the protests of Peter DeBoer, the Sharks coach, this is one of the luckiest runs I've ever seen by a team in the Sharks when it comes to referee decisions going their way. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Game 7 against Vegas, Game 7 against Colorado, and then Game 3 against St. Louis. Like if they move on, they should have been eliminated long ago. But they haven't been because of the officiating, not just for the Sharks, but in general, the officiating in this postseason have been atrocious.
I'm just saying, listen to us sitting here talking about how the Blues, we sound like me trying to figure out a way to beat the Patriots.
I'm just saying, do you know how fucking depressing it is knowing that the only hope that I have against the Boston Bruins is either the San Jose Sharks or the St. Louis Blues.
That's what I said last
week. I could not think of 2 teams that I would trust less.
I said it last week. I said our hope in the Stanley Cup is resting in some really shaky hands right now. Either way. We are not in good shape here because we've got to rely on two teams that really, when they play each other, you think, well, God, anything could happen, and probably will. And if there were literally a way for both of these teams to lose this series, that's exactly what would happen. But since there's not, one of them will have to win somehow, some way, and make it to the Stanley Cup Final.
Septuple overtime, Game 7, both teams somehow put the puck in their own net at the same exact time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, if it were possible,
break the space-time.
If it were possible for both of these teams to lose this series, that's how it would end. It really would. But I like that Boston's going to be so rusty by the time we get there, so that'll help. That'll be a big hit. And plus, fuck them.
Yeah. Exactly, right? Fuck Boston.
I'm
I hate
just
them.
tired of it. I used to not even care about the Bruins, but it's just, I don't know, the whole Boston thing now, I'm just so over it, and that's
they're right there with everybody else. Don't let their
I'm not going to let this working class, we're not like everybody else bullshit. I'm not buying that for a minute, not 1 second. No. I'm sorry.
I think with the Bruins, I want to like hope that this Russ thing works out as we want it to. But if Tuukka's locked in Game 1, I don't know. I don't know how the other teams are going to do it. It's if Tuukka's on, and then you just have a strong defensive core and a team that scores just enough and beats the hell out of you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the Bruins. Like I called it against the Jackets. It's like in your way hockey. Like they're always in your fucking way, no matter what. I don't even know what you call what they play, but it's like there's 12 of them out there at all times. Even though there's not, it just seems that way because if they're always, I don't know. Fuck them. I hope they. I don't know. I'm so tired of the whole thing. Yeah. And then I look at it, I go, I'd love to see the Blues pull it off. That would be great. But I'm like, the Blues and the Sharks. That's what I'm putting my hopes on. Great, just fucking great, just great.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Against the Boston team, which would make it even worse.
Yeah. Mike, back to you though. What are your thoughts on the North so far through 3 games, down 2-1?
Basketball.
In basketball.
Y'all should have had Game 1. I think
should have had Game 1. Should have had Game 1. So Game 2 they completely owned us, but this could easily be 2-1 Toronto. That doesn't change reality of what it is though, but given that I heard that people were saying the Bucks are going to destroy them, I'm happy so far. We've played 3 games and the Raptors have been in 2 of them, so that's a great sign. So I guess in terms of the North, I'm feeling positive.
It ain't over till it's over.
Based on what you've seen through the 3 games, do you think either of those teams can beat the Warriors?
No. This is great. Just
great.
This is the.
I'm glad we're doing this.
This is the slow, inevitable march towards a Warriors championship. Make no mistake about it. This is all fun, but I look forward to the end of the consolation bracket, and nobody's beating the Warriors.
Well, let's stop for a second, though. Okay, let's take a serious look at this. What would you? I know that we don't know a lot about basketball. We know a lot about the game, but we don't know a lot about the particulars of these teams. But what would it take? If can we figure out what it would take to beat? What either team would have to beat?
The Warriors, Greg, are completely dismantling the Portland Trailblazers without their 2 best players.
Okay, so I guess then there's really no way to figure this out.
Which is why all these Warriors fans being like, this is like the toughest playoffs the Warriors have ever. It's like you are curb stomping the Portland Trailblazers in the Western Final, and you're down your top 2 players. Shut up.
Who's out? Is Durant out, and who else?
Curry, I think, is out.
Are both out?
No, Curry played last night.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Or not last night, but, last
So
game.
It's like Durant and Thompson or somebody, or what?
I thought Curry was still out, honestly, but yeah, whatever.
No, he's been playing. I don't know. It's the Blazers made it tight in game 2 a little bit. But still, and it just sucks. Like, we're not big basketball people in the first place. We've made that pretty clear, I think. Mm-hmm. But still, you want to, especially when we get down to this point of the year where hockey and basketball are kind of alternating every night. So to basically just not watch sports on every other night is kind of strange. So you want these games to be good because in theory this should be the best that the sport has to offer at that point. And it's the same thing it's been for 4 years now, 5 years.
I don't remember ever in my whole time of being an NBA fan, I don't ever remember it being this hopeless. Like the Bulls teams of the 90s, I mean, was it as hopeless as this? I always felt like that, well, I don't know, though. None of them ever did it. They won like 6 out of 9, and they probably would have won what would have been 9, 8 straight, whatever, if Jordan hadn't retired. But it never felt like that the teams that they were playing couldn't beat them. Like, it wasn't just like, okay, well, we're wasting our time here. Like, you see the Blazers with Drexler and that crew would go, and you go, yeah, they got a shot. The Jazz with Stockton and Malone, they've got a shot.
I mean,
it's like you look at it and go, I just don't see how it can possibly happen.
I mean, Jordan had to contend with the bad boys, at least.
Yeah.
And then you had, Stockton and the Jazz, and you had Irving, and the Knicks. So
Barkley, did they play Barkley and the Suns one year?
Yeah, they played Barkley and the Suns one year. So I mean, they faced competition,
and it wasn't entirely hopeless like it feels with the Warriors, right? I mean, we did feel like there was a chance the other team could win, and it wasn't like the Bulls did 4-game sweeps every time either. I mean, a couple times it went 6, I think, or maybe most of the time. It went 6, and I don't know. I just don't recall it ever being like this. And then when, like, the Lakers and Celtics in the 80s, that was, everybody else was hopeless. But the finals were always good because either team could win. It wasn't like, okay, the Lakers are just this dominant team. Look what they did to the West. There's no way Boston can beat them. It was you knew that every year you were going to get the 2 very best teams. This just feels like what'd you call it, Mike, a slow march to oblivion.
Inevitability,
yeah. I mean, it's just kind of pointless, and
it's very Infinity Wars-esque, like Thanos, like run from it, destiny always arrives, like.
So I was trying to formulate a plan, like how could Toronto or Milwaukee beat them? But if they're walking all over the Warriors, down a couple, or the Blazers down a couple players, I don't know, like LeBron did it, so it can be done.
Yeah, but LeBron had to go like full LeBron. Like
that's what I keep saying.
He had to tap into his LeBron powers to like the maximum.
Yeah, I think what's his name, Giannis has got to do that for the Bucks to have a chance. Maybe Kawhi Leonard does it for the Raptors if they get there, but I just don't know how else you do it. And I look back, I'm thinking, how did the Cavs do it? Because they had Kyrie Irving too, which helped a lot. There wasn't just LeBron. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. It's no fun. Look at what we've had. Look at the sports championships this year that we've had. We had the Patriots.
Ugh.
Had the Red Sox.
Ugh.
Probably going to get the Bruins. Probably going to get the Warriors again. Yeah. Why are we here again?
I can't. I think there was a stretch not too long ago where the Patriots won, the Yankees won, Alabama won, and then UConn basketball also won, or maybe it was Duke, and it was like, oh my god, all the worst teams possible have won championships. This is bad, but at least it's spread out.
Yeah,
like could you imagine if in some alternate universe where Boston college football is somehow like the best, and the Celtics were better than they were, and let's just say the New England Revolution were also good, and Northeastern basketball was an NCAA power.
Or Boston College basketball, for that matter, who actually used to be pretty good. I don't know what this is.
At least there was that one hell year. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't that long ago. but it still seemed. But again, it was all spread out. I can't remember. I don't know if there's been a time. I mean, I'm sure somebody's looked this up already. I'll see if somebody has. But
well, there was that one period in the 70s, right, where Pittsburgh won everything because like the Steelers, the Pirates, and at least the Steelers and the Pirates kept winning championships, right?
The Steelers and Pirates both won in 79. It was the only time they both won in the same year, yeah.
So this was from...
I'm trying to think. It happened in Philadelphia one year. I take that back. The Sixers went to the finals but got beat by the Lakers because that was the Magic Johnson Game 6.
Multiple major championship.
Did the Dodgers and Lakers ever win in the same year? 88.
So I mean this is kind of stretching it, but in 1935, the Detroit Lions, Red Wings, and Tigers all won their respective titles.
The Lions?
In the 1935.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So before there was a Super Bowl.
That counts less than the Browns 64 championship does.
But here's the thing that of course grinds our gears. The city of Boston has won at least 2 titles in 2018, 2007, 2004. So again, all in this millennium.
But Ray Bork, guys,
Fuck
Bork.
Ray Bork. I'm serious.
And that was again, but that was multiple championships in one season.
What about Mike Milbury, Boston fans? Does he not count?
Does Mike Milbury? Yeah. That's another thing that Boston needs to apologize for is unleashing Mike Milbury on the world.
Yeah. He played with other teams besides Boston, right?
I honestly don't know.
I just remember, like I told you guys before, my first ever game was the Red Wings and the Bruins at the Joe. And Milbury came out without a helmet, and he was still grandfathered in. And he just looked like such a fucking doofus without a helmet out there. I'm sorry, but that's what I remember about him. And he looked old. He must have been,
This is the best research I can find so far. You've had several times where teams in one city have won 2 titles. No city's ever won 4 in the same year.
No.
And there was only one time, and this was before the NBA was formed in 1946. The Lions, Red Wings, and Tigers all won their championships in 1935.
Well, we've never seen a run with one city like what Boston's been on since the Patriots won that first Super Bowl. Nothing even close.
The only thing that's sort of in the same area, but again, not close, in 2002, the LA metro area, you had the Lakers and the Angels both won, as well as, the Sparks and the LA Galaxy, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah, but not over an extended period like this. I've never seen a city do this with this many teams for this long. Did it have to fucking be Boston?
Pittsburgh. Right. The 70s in Pittsburgh was close.
Yeah, but did the Penguins do anything in the 70s?
No, they didn't.
No, and I know the Pirates won in 71 and 79, and that's it. They didn't do anything. I mean, they were in the playoffs a lot, I think. But
yeah, Pittsburgh has won titles in the same season only twice, with the Steelers and Pirates winning in 79 and the Steelers and Penguins winning in 2009.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, there's only one other city on this list that's done it multiple times like that, and that's New York. But they have so many damn teams, and that was 1927, 1933, 1938, 56, 69, 86.
When the Yankees were on that run, the Giants won the Super Bowl in 86,
right,
90, and then the 2 against the Patriots, which were
86 was one of the years where you had the Mets win the World Series the same year as the Giants won the Super Bowl.
Right, okay. The Yankees didn't do shit that year. I don't think they were 500.
In 1969, the Jets and Mets both won in the same year. 1956, the Giants and Yankees both won in the same year.
Well, the Mets and Jets is cool because they're fun. They're okay. We like them.
The Giants and Yankees both won in 56, 38, and 27. 1933, you had the Rangers and Giants. The MLB Giants winning.
So question: what would be worse? a Boston Big Four sweep or a New York Big Four sweep?
Boston, no question. No question.
I think Boston too, if only because despite New York being New York, they're not split on anything, right? Or New York is split on multiple things, I should say.
Yeah.
Whereas Boston, it's the Patriots, the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Bruins. That's it. You and yes, in theory, like if you have the Yankees and Jets both win at the same time, you have plenty of Jets fans that aren't Yankee fans.
Yeah.
No, okay, so I'm talking about like the annoying New York teams. Like let's say it's like the Giants, the Yankees, the
Rangers,
Knicks, and the Rangers.
That'd be pretty bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like
with the Knicks though, because the Knicks haven't won since '73. So would that be that bad?
Right. That's what I was going to say too. Is like the Boston thing. We talked about this before. When the Patriots won the first time in 2001, that was a great story. When the Red Sox finally won in 2004, that was a great story.
Yeah, I mean, I hated those bastards my whole life, and even I was rooting for them in 2004 because it was just the way they came back from being down 0-3 and the whole bit. It was, you're like, okay, I hate them, but I want to see them finally do it because I thought just maybe they finally win one, they'll shut the fuck up. Oh, was I ever wrong?
No.
Oh, was I wrong on that? Oh my God.
And even when, say, the Celtics finally won, and not like any of us were rooting for them, but they hadn't won since the 80s. It's not like they'd been the Celtics throughout the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah,
the Bruins the same thing, where they hadn't won since the 70s?
Well, 70 with Bobby Orr, right? Was the last cup they won, right? Yeah. I don't remember them winning one since then.
But now it's just the built-up aggregation of it all over the last 20 years. That's really kind of said, yeah, you know what? Screw this. This is stupid.
And you know what? I would even be more willing to put up with this run of dominance they had if they would just sit back, shut up, and go, this is the greatest time to be a sports fan ever. And just leave it at that. Yeah, you know what? Can't argue that.
Because here's the thing, though. Even when New York is losing, they're still going to tell you that we're the greatest city in the world. We're the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Like you.
That doesn't slow them down.
Yeah, you can go to a New York. You can go to a New York fan when the Yankees are having an off year and be like, the Yankees suck. We'd be like, fuck you. We're still New York.
Yeah, and then they whip out those 26 World Series titles and go fuck off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like. I mean, I like the city of New York, but they
I do too. But
whereas Boston is like,
Boston is just as successful.
They're just annoying. They're annoying.
They're just as successful, but they act like they're hard done by.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the difference. Is when they're winning, it's still but what was that like? As much as I enjoy Bill Simmons' conversations, generally speaking. When it is Patriots season and they get to, oh man, I don't know about it. It's like, just shut up.
Right.
Just like, can you even hear yourself?
Yeah.
And like, at some point you think, oh, he's just doing a bit. And then like, he just keeps going on about it. It's like, oh no, this is not a bit. This is just something that's deep down in their psyche that they're never going to get rid of until this young generation grows up without any of the woe and despair that their fathers and grandfathers all had. We're not getting rid of that.
Let me ask you guys. Okay, we'll pick any one of your teams that you want. Okay, like say with Mike with the Maple Leafs. Mm-hmm. Had they won 6 cups in the amount of time that the Patriots have won the 6 Super Bowls, I'm not saying that you wouldn't care, but would it even be that important to you at this point? You know what I mean? I mean, it'd be like, okay, that was fun, but
let me tell you. Let me put it to you this way: if the Leafs had won 6 cups going back to 2001. I sure as shit wouldn't be talking about the hard times they suffered in the 70s and like mid 90s. All right. That's the thing. That's the thing. Like,
that brings up a point that you made before too, Greg. Like how many of these Patriots fans were there in Foxborough Stadium in, when they lost to the, to the Bears in 85? Like
none.
Let me put it to you this way. If the Maple Leafs had won 6 Stanley Cups since like 2001, I would not would not be going, woe is us for 1993 when Wayne Gretzky scored when he should have been in the penalty box to knock us out of the playoffs, right? Like
yeah, you could have that memory, but you probably just be like, oh, that sucked, but we won 6 cents.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And like, with the Ducks, Zach, for you, like they've won 6 cups this amount of time.
Oh, I'd be a much happier person.
Well, not only that, but would it really? I just find it amazing that they still, not all of them. I'm sure there's plenty of fine Boston fans out there. I've yet to meet one, but I'm sure they exist. They're like baby pigeons. I've never seen one.
In fairness to the CCSLC, we got some good Boston fans.
Yeah, this is true. We do.
We do. Some of them like to indulge in the woe is me thing, but they don't do it too often. We can't hold it against them. It's an innate part of who they are. And
but to sit back and I couldn't think, if I were a Boston sports fan, I couldn't think of a single thing to complain about right now. What would my complaint be? I don't know. The Patriots could use new uniforms.
Yeah.
What else are you going to go on about?
That's the thing. When you say to Mike or me, hey, one team with 6 titles, that's one thing. This is one city with 12 going
across all major sports.
Going on 13, and if Mike is any kind of profit, 14 coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah.
There is nothing to complain about. Not a single thing. You can get mad that people hate you, I guess, but it's not without reason. Even if Boston sports fans were the most humble and genuflecting people in the world, we still want your team to lose because give somebody else a shot.
Would we, though? Because I brought this up before. When the Niners were the dominant team in the NFL in the 80s, people weren't like this with them. It was like, you may not have been a fan, but you were at least appreciated what you were seeing. But no one was like, God, I'm so fucking tired of these guys.
Well, look at the Warriors. Do we hate Warriors fans necessarily?
No.
No, I think we kind of hate what basketball has become, but we don't hate Warriors fans.
I'm not so crazy about the one Warrior fan that went on something about them being the prettiest girl and all the problems that go with it. It's like, okay.
About it's so hard being a Warriors fan because it's like dating the prettiest girl in class, but you have to deal with all. It's like, shut up and enjoy your 4 titles in 5 years.
Like being at a job interview and they go, what's one of your shortcomings? You go, I care too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Please. I work too hard. I don't give myself enough time. Give me a fucking break. I totally lost my train of thought on that, but
that's okay.
It's just kind of, it's just like, it's kind of no fun because I think that the Stanley Cup Final would have been better if any team out of the East, other than Boston, maybe Pittsburgh too, but anybody else coming out, this would be really exciting, I think. I really do. Like if it had been even Carolina, okay, look, we're not big Carolina fans, but at least it would have been remotely interesting. What if my Columbus Blue Jackets had managed to punch that ticket? Well, I don't know. Maybe it'd be the same thing. Not that interesting, but I'd be excited, But it's just like another Boston team, really, again. And it's not the Bruins' fault. I guess it is because they won, but I guess sometimes I do feel like they get tagged with the rest of Boston maybe a little more than they should. But then I'm not so sure about that either. I think maybe they are right there with the rest of those other asshole teams that I've hated my whole life. I don't know.
Oh, it's all Boston, Greg.
Yeah. It's all Boston.
Yeah, well
we went down that rabbit hole again. I didn't mean to, but it's hard not to.
Okay, no,
it's a big rabbit hole.
I need to get this out because if the Bruins win the Stanley Cup and I don't vent, I'm going to break something.
Yeah. Well here's hoping
our
that
hopes are in good hands, guys.
Sharks. If we get Bruins Sharks, either Mike and I are going to break something.
Yeah.
Either I do or Mike does. I don't know what we want. Really,
I'm just so forlorn that all my hopes for not Bruins are the Sharks or the Blues.
Right. Right.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks.
It's like this is it. This is.
I'm trying to think of a good movie comparison to what this is, and I can't come up with anything. I don't know. It's just. Not the best place to be. Not the best place to be. Very shaky hands that we're in right now.
Yeah, it's like No. I'm kind of with what Zach said on the Kramer boards. Like St. Louis Blues, if you could avoid just not being the St. Louis Blues for the next couple of weeks, that would be nice. Fantastic. Yeah. That would be fantastic.
Literally, like that. We're down to it, and that's the only team that I can stand winning. Like, yeah, either the Sharks get their first or Boston gets its 13th. Like, I'm not in for that.
Well, that's where we are, guys. That's where we are. It's just that it would be nice if we had one sport where we could go, okay, we don't have to worry about Boston in this one, but we don't.
I mean, basketball, I guess, but even then the Celtics made the playoffs, so
yeah. Like, well, a lot of people thought they were going to go to the finals this year. Not beat the Warriors, of course, because let's not get ridiculous. But I think too that this is kind of just a tangent, but the more I see with this Warriors team, the more impressed I am that the Cavs are actually able to beat them in a series. I don't know how the fuck it happened, but they did it. And
it was LeBron hitting his limit break, to use a Final Fantasy reference.
I guess so. I mean, but you think about it, because if you look at that team today and they're up 3-1 on anybody, you're going, there's no way, no one's coming back from that. I don't care who you are. You're not coming back from that. No one thought they'd do it when it happened in 16. Everybody's like, it's done. And all of a sudden, there we were in Game 7. LeBron made that great block. Kyrie Irving hits a crazy shot. And I'm going, oh, my God, they're actually going to pull this off. So, I don't know. Maybe that's the hope we can have in our Sharks and our Blues. Well, our Blues, I guess, not our Sharks so much. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, of all teams, were the ones that come back from a 3-1 deficit and beat the Warriors. So maybe a Blues championship over this Bruins team isn't as crazy as it sounds. I don't know. I'm just... Yeah.
We live in the darkest timeline.
Yeah, we do. No question about it. This is just like this is
what it's like.
Welcome to the
young adult fiction.
Welcome to the Leftovers episode of Basically a Sports Show, guys. The accidental Grudge Show.
What we should really do, guys, while there's still time remaining, we should make a sports fan fiction thread about this Stanley Cup playoff and what we actually wanted to happen.
Yeah, that's what we should do, right?
Hey, we got a full week before the thread shuts down, before the subform shuts down. So let's get to it.
Oh my. Tiger Woods was doing pretty well in the PGA and then didn't even make the cut. That kind of sucked.
Yeah, well, Brooks kept the blue in the field.
He got this whole thing. I mean, that's good, right?
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I mean, he won his Masters, right? That's good.
I'm just looking through the awful announcing page here to see if there's anything that catches my eye. Oh, no. I don't want to hear a commercial. Anyway, if we got nothing else, guys, let's wrap it up. And
I've got nothing in particular. I guess
swing it again next week. Go ahead.
Quick pop culture thing I want to throw in there.
Oh, absolutely.
The Detective Pikachu movie, delightful.
I saw that last weekend. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
delightful.
It's fun. Yeah, it's not like, yes, Pokemon is something with a deep lore, quote unquote, to it, but and ultimately it's kind of a kids movie, but it's enough of not just a flat out kids movie that I liked it. I had fun. I like Pokemon. It did a good job of not like inundating me with all this stuff I didn't know. It appealed to people that were there for the first generation. It appeals to kids that are in the new generations of Pokemon. I had a good time.
And you know what? Those end credits were neat.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Zach. It was a good time to be had.
All right. Yeah. Well, there you go. So I don't know what the hell we're talking about, but they both seem to endorse it, so that's good.
If you even have heard of a Pokemon, I would go. Just
Greg, you have at least heard of
I have heard of Pokemon. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily for you, but I don't know. It's a light bit of fare before the rest of the.
You got to remember, I'm the guy that watched The Leftovers, and I'm like going, "This is fucking awesome," and it's like the most depressing show you've ever seen.
Detective Pikachu is very much not The Leftovers.
that is true.
I mean, although if you are a Pokemon fan, this movie gives you a Pikachu. With Ryan Reynolds' voice singing the Pokemon theme song. So, I mean, I don't know what else you could possibly want out of a Pokemon movie.
I don't either. I really don't. And I mean that literally. I have no idea what else you would want out of a Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
All right, folks. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube. I promise next week we will not be we might be even more unhappy about Boston, so I really can't make that deal with you.
The Boston Bruins are up 3-0, and
in any case, as always, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Adios.
See ya.
The second half of tonight's telecast has been brought to you by Imperial Oil Limited and Esso dealers, agents, and distributors serving your community. Tune in again next week